Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hey, Mariam.
Hi.
I love what you're wearing.
Thank
it's
you.
Lovely. Very girly.
Very bright.
So how are you?
Fine. I was just saying school have resumed and my school asked for, they sent us a survey, what do you want exactly for the term? So you can't change, like in your case, where your children can go to school online for some days and physically be in school on some other days. As you know, so we had to make the decision, do we want him to stay at home for one term? Because we can't change until the term is over.
That's what they told us to.
So that was the conversation we were having until last night before I was able to make the decision. So I've decided to leave him at home.
Oh, okay.
It is stressful. It is quite hard to have him concentrate. But I think for now, until we're sure of how things are before he can go to school.
That's nice.
You know, my own situation is the little one. Someone is crying.
I saw the twins on the class yesterday.
He's crying every morning that
because
he wants to go to school. Yeah, because I want to go with my brother. I want to go with he can't understand why he has to stay at home and his brothers are going to school. But I know that Lagos State decided that preschoolers shouldn't.
Yeah, but some schools are wrongfully opening for the pre-primary schools.
Yes, you said
and that is totally wrong because they've reiterated that those ones cannot conform to the guidelines. So you should keep them at home for now. Even my son, my little son was supposed to resume. I had to defer it to next year.
Yeah. Well, you know, the problem will be parents who have to go back to work and do not have anyone at home to watch their smaller children.
Yeah.
So what do we do for parents like that?
I think that, so for me, I'm actually considering bringing Samuel to
work.
No, to Royal's place. I'm looking for, because I was going to
on national television.
Yeah. No, like I have a list of 2 or 3 people that live within my axis that have friends that have children around that age or have more mature nannies that can coordinate, because you need yesterday they couldn't do school because there was no adults to supervise the process all through. So only the twins were able to do it. The little one couldn't.
No, but interestingly, I had to run home because Sheon has gone back to school.
Yeah.
So I still had, that's why I had to do James Bond, because Sheon was around. I don't have to do that James Bond. Yeah. But I still have to do it this morning to ensure that, because Michael wasn't feeling well. So he's home. But the girls have gone to school. So it's a bit everybody is trying to adjust this new concept. But Nima was supposed to be here, but it rained in Lagos. I don't know if it rained anywhere in the country, but
this rain in Lagos felt like the entire heaven wanted to fall down. It was pretty hard.
Nima had to turn back around. That entire neighborhood, you know, bad enough that when there's no rain. Now join rain, and the kind of rain that rained last night, there was no way she was going to be on the show this morning.
Was it last night or early this morning?
It was very early this morning. Like 4 a.m.
It was like they just opened the gates of heaven.
It felt that way. Yeah. It really felt that way. I was going to banter about affirmations and all of that because, guys, please, we really, the things that push us towards progress are very, very easy to do and very easy not to do. So you just write down your goals. It's so easy to do, but it's easy not to do it. So might write it for the first 2 days and then we forget to do it. Like, everybody has read Think and Grow Rich. Every success book outside, it's a dimension of Think and Grow Rich. It's the same principle. Just do it. Like, when you finish reading and you know what to do, just do it. So,
and also, in the last few days, I've gotten a lot of messages from different people. I won't mention what the message is about. But what I like to say is, it's not about the people you know. It's about the value you have. So if you have a network of important people around you, people who have access, it doesn't mean that you go there and say, please, give me, I want. You have value to give. So people should not assume when they see you with people, think, oh, please, I want this, I want to get a house. I want to get a...
Let me land it. People on Monday came to meet me and we're saying I should help them get a job through Senator Remi Tinubu. That we know Senator specific, that they mentioned her name and told me to tell her they want a job. You know, so it wasn't like, I'm good in this area, I can meet their need. It was like, I want a job, anyhow, a job. And it wasn't from 1, 2, 3 different people. So I think that sometimes it's good to put out there that even if you have access, it's wrong for you to just go and meet them. You don't just come and meet me and say, give me money.
So I know somebody, I'm not going to go and meet them. Of course not. And my job is not to collect money from anybody. Please, nobody's going to ask me for. I don't have money from anybody.
Mariah, that's funny because someone was saying that sometimes you have these people who, like barbers, they have the opportunity to cut someone's hair that is of importance. As you're cutting, you say, Oga, please, I have these issues. Like, no, don't do cut the hair so well that he would have a conversation with you about your
we have
plans.
to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll go on to the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right. Let's start this morning with, should I start with Daily Sun? With this, their headline is not even interesting.
Insensitive.
They said roasted, imagine, a whole newspaper. Let's start with The Punch this morning. Kano, Niger Republic rail line. PDP, CSOs, others attack federal government as FEC approves $1.96 billion project. Picture here of the explosion that happened in Kogi. Buhari mourns as Kogi tanker explosion claims school children, family of 5 and others. The Smith Cup jailed 7 years for killing Lagos residents. Yoruba nation will secure freedom without bloodshed, says Akintoye. Violence, PDP writes Buhari asked president to caution Akeredolu. Strike, governors hold emergency meeting as FG Labour discussed today. Obaseki tour South-South visits Wike, Okowa, Diri, and Elumelu. 2 other Nigerians make time 100 list. Okay, which story are we starting with? The Punch? Who has a human interest story? The Dismiss Cup. Anybody read that?
Oh,
No.
you didn't.
We didn't have that.
So Tony Elumelu and 2
yes.
other Nigerians have been named one of the 100 most influential people in the world and recognized. And Tony Elumelu, especially for his, the agenda of pushing Afri-capitalism, I think is how it's coined. And he got lots of messages, goodwill messages from Dangote, from our president, and saying the importance that the private sector the important role the private sector has to play in pushing Africa's development. Yes.
Let me add to that. He was recognized,
him.
he was one of 4 Africans in the list, and recognized for his track record for business turnaround, value creation, and economic empowerment of young Africans. So congratulations to Mr. Tony Elumelu.
So I wanted to quickly take 2 quick stories. One, manufacturers. So we're always encouraging manufacturers in Nigeria, but the manufacturers now are seeking import duty waiver on raw materials. Specifically, Uba from Innocent, the CEO, said that the plastic from Eleme Petrochemical Company cannot meet the demand from its products. And so the raw materials are needed from to be imported to the country, and they want duty waivers to enable them bring this in. He said, our entire factory has only produced keke and motorcycle tires because the bottlenecks in getting approval from NESREA to bring in the material. So if we're encouraging local manufacturers, please let's give them the raw materials and give them duty waivers where they need it.
Okay, moving on to The Nation. Petrol, electricity, labor list conditions to halt strike. Picture here again, we're going to talk about this 25 die in Kogi tanker fire. Court faults Buhari on judge's appointment. 37 billion naira refund missing under Yari, says Zamfara government. Investor to inject 4.9 billion naira in Agbowo complex. And 31 die as floods hit Bauchi, Niger, and Jigawa state. Okay, the tanker, let's talk about the tanker now. The tanker happened in Kogi state. I think 5 vehicles were involved. Quite a number of children died. The entire family were wiped out. And this is an extremely heartbreaking story. The presidency have responded, although we are not really happy about their response all the time. Because listen, yes, you're mourning with us, yes, but it has to be way beyond that. Yes. But I wanted to read from, I can't say what to open it. I'm trying to read from Garbashew. I think one of them responded saying that obviously this is one accident too many, and they need to ensure that they're going to put all matters in place to ensure it doesn't happen again. Okay, let's move on to another paper. You want to take another story?
Saudi Arabia is going to allow Muslims to have Umrah. That's like the minor pilgrimage starting in October. It was altered for 7 months due to the COVID-19, the coronavirus pandemic, according to papers, but that from October 4th, the Saudis and foreign residents can be allowed to visit the kingdom, but they say only 6,000 pilgrims per day will be allowed to perform the Umrah. I'm waiting to see how that will play out, if we'll see them willing to take the risk, because I feel it's still a huge risk.
All right, let's move on very quickly to Vanguard. We're still on the Kogi explosion. It's going to be our hot topic today. So 30 killed, but the figures are still wrong. Some are saying 30, some are saying 25, some are saying 40. So we're not really sure exactly, but it says here, Black Wednesday, 30 killed in Kogi petrol tanker explosion. Don't let lions, tigers torment Edo people again. That's Okowa to Obaseki. UK lawmakers right Commonwealth over insecurity in Nigeria. October 1st, Ohaneze backs IPOB's sit-at-home call. Okay, so IPOB has asked everybody to sit at home for October 1st, that no economic activities should go on, especially in the South, South, and Southeast. And they're also having a solidarity with the Yoruba Nation group that are trying to say that for October 1st, everybody should stay home. Of course, the government has said that, listen, we should go about our normal businesses. There's nothing like that, we don't have to stay at home on October 1st.
The striking Labour people too is in the papers. It's also, well, are we still going to discuss that? Yes, because the electricity tariff for price hike, government moved to avert strike, and Labour, they're having a meeting today, but they're still saying they want to start the strike by next week, Monday.
And they're saying that the only thing they would allow is reversal. I have a problem with that. Daily Sun, 40 roasted alive in Kogi fuel explosion. Edo Guba, U.S. elated over peaceful conduct of election. IPOB orders sit at home in support of Yoruba self-determination rally. Strike, AFG Labour meeting, make or mar meeting today. And UK lawmakers right Commonwealth over insecurity in Nigeria. Okay, so I think we've taken most of the stories here.
Where did we, sorry, do we have the Lagos shutting down 21 illegal pharmacies?
Go ahead, I've not seen that story.
Okay, so 21 pharmacies have been shut down by Lagos State because these are patent medicine stores, and their role actually is to make sure that they sell medicine in their original pack, and you know they are not meant to sell, they are not meant to distribute or be wholesalers of medicines. So in areas like Alakuko, Ajegunle, and so many others, Abuelegba, Agbado 20, the Commissioner of Health, Professor Aki Abayomi, has disclosed that they are trying to enforce this law to make sure that only those, first of all, the patent stores have to be manned by those who are qualified, and many of the stores are manned by just people who are unqualified to do that. Then there's the area of counter, some of them do not have licenses. They're engaging unqualified persons to man and dispense drugs to unsuspecting citizens operating beyond their scope through the sale of ethical products and displaying and storing drugs in environments that compromises the potency of the drug. So these are the things that they are going through one after the other. And I also feel that people around these pharmacies, if they know of pharmacies that are flouting, the proper regulations, they should let the government.
We skipped the story in the Punch, and I think we should mention it. Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo of the Lagos State Special Offense Court on Wednesday sentenced a policeman that was dismissed in 2016, Olugunwa Ojo, 7 years imprisonment. So Olugunwa got into a fight with someone. He was meant to protect a building, Fragen Investment Limited, on February 3rd, 2016. And around 7 p.m., someone sat on the fence of Fragen. And the policeman said he went there to try and get the man not to sit on the fence. And they got into a fight. He brought out his gun to scare him off and shot Akonde. The shot led to Akonde's death. And the police did the job immediately. They dismissed the man after internal checks. But later, the case was taken to court. And now this police officer is sentenced to 7 years. And I want to say this because many times we think that police officers don't get justice when they kill people. This is one of those cases where a police officer is getting 7 years.
We have to wrap up right now with people, but it's important for us to, I'd like us to look at daily trust for a second, because that's the headline we're going to be, that's our next topic right now. The tanker flag. So I'd like our producers to show daily trust. Cleric loses 6 children as businessman, wife, kids die. I'd like Nigerians to take in these pictures for a moment before we go on a break, because this is exactly what happened yesterday in Kogi State. There were human beings in these cars. There were 5 of these cars, I believe, or 3 occurred. Human beings burnt beyond recognition. This has happened in Lagos several times. A young lady recently died. Her mother was picking up on this. And I would like Nigerians to take it in. We're going to break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So Thursday, we like to talk about family, relationships, and all that. But it's actually most difficult to have that conversation when a man, his wife, 3 children, and 20 others died in an explosion, avoidable explosion that happened in Kogi State. Now, this morning, many Nigerians are angry because, in fact, in Lagos, we are kind of used to this. It happens pretty often. But in this case, is it particularly even more disturbing because reports I'm reading from Tribune is saying that there's a possibility that this tanker in particular is an NNPC tanker.
Yeah.
If that's the case, it makes it even more painful because these are government-owned trucks. If we condemn the private sector for not maintaining their trucks, what happens when the government trucks themselves are applying these roads unmaintained? So there's so many parts to this story. So our focus this morning is to discuss and to express our displeasure to the Nigerian government on the far too many incidences of petrol tanker explosions across the country. So we're going to open up our phone lines. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We need to let these people know how we feel about these, and something must be done beyond making comments or telling us, oh, you are mourning. It's beyond you mourning. It's actually putting people in jail that fixes some of these problems. Yeah. But let me come to the ladies. Your thoughts on this when you heard the story?
I travel. Tomorrow I'm heading out again. And I worry because every time I'm traveling and I have a trailer by my side, it's a testimony every time you go and come back and you're not among the statistics. Because I was reading and I couldn't help but cry. Yeah, you know, people, so there's a businessman, the entire family is wiped out. The entire family, all children, you know, it's just one son that is in boarding house that is alive. The other cleric, a Muslim popular cleric that has lost 6 of his children, all the family gone. Oh my God. So when we read stories like this, and I saw it yesterday, I just didn't want to read it because I knew when I read it, I'll get very emotional and, you know, we'll just get worried. And I know my husband will start shouting, don't travel again. But like, where is safe? Because this thing happens in Lagos. It happens everywhere. So I want to highlight what Daily Trust was saying. Daily Trust said that Felele Lokoja is a death zone. In 2007, December 26th, 5 people died in an accident there, fuel tanker. In March 9, 2010, this same Felele, 70 people died. Hey. In July 28, 2017, this same Felele, 25 people died. In November 2019, this same Felele, 8 people died. In January 13, 2020, this same road, 2 people died. So I passed through terrible roads in Ogbomoso, and I know that this road, like whenever you're driving, you know that you're praying there's no trailer around you because that trailers keep falling. So I'm not, before I know you will deal with the trailers and the trucks and the tankers that have issues with their maintenance. But I have issues with the road. The road itself is a trap. The road itself causes trailers to fall down. The road itself is because they say one of the car was waiting for his turn to move before the thing exploded. So you are stuck in a narrow road, and all these trailers and trucks are moving by road in small junctions. We are losing lives on a daily basis, and
even
it's not just
in Lagos here, it's Otedola Bridge.
Yes.
I have so many records of accidents happening on this same Otedola Bridge that I pass every single day of my life. Anytime I mention Otedola Bridge, I'm always looking around with God. There's a tanker, I just slow down. Let him go first. Because I can't come and die because of tanker explosion. Nimara, let me hear your thoughts before I take our... we have a guest, a spokesperson for FRSC. We'll talk to him in a moment.
Really, my heart is really heavy over this news. And yes, the roads are bad. That's true. And I think we already know what the problems are. We have said them so many times. Now, it just even seems like, you know, just clean the dates on these reports and you just keep the story. Right. It reoccurs. But the thing that is most heartbreaking, really, because I think I'm even past anger, is government's response. This is sad. We are sorry. We sympathize. We will put together a committee to make sure this does not happen. And then in another few months it happens, and we have the same, we will put together a committee. Same rhetoric. You don't have people who are locked up for driving recklessly. You do not have people who are supposed to be in charge of maintaining those trucks in jail for something. People just lose their lives and then they are forgotten. Life goes on. It happens too. I mean, what can we even
say? If this is an NNPC truck, that would be even worse for me because I feel that the government has a sole responsibility. We hear of billions. on the front pages of the papers almost every single day. The least you can do, I don't know who is managing your trucks. If it's a private owner that's managing your trucks, because I have seen a truck in this Lagos where you could see a slice on the what do they call that thing? Where the tank, where the petrol is.
Yeah.
And it was practically leaking. People were just slowing down, trying to alert the driver that you have a leak. So God forbid you're smoking and you mistakenly put a cigarette there, that's it. So
this particular, I'm dealing with the roads because I'm driving on the roads. And this particular spot, Minister Fashola, I know.
Okay, let me pause you for a second. Because our guest is being called in different stations, so I want us to talk to him immediately. Okay. We have with us a spokesman for the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Bisi Kazeem. Mr. Kazeem, are you there?
Good morning.
Morning, sir. So, could you give us an update exactly? Do you have an exact figure? Because the papers had several different figures this morning of the accident that happened in Kogi.
Yes, it's an unfortunate incident. We have total number of 28 victims
28, okay.
that actually died. 28. The casualty distribution, we have 10 male adults, female 9 adults, 7 female children, and 2 male children, totaling 28. And we have 19 vehicles destroyed. 1 house, electric poles and cables also destroyed, 3 shops, and 2 GP tanks.
Now, Mr. Kazeem, I have to ask this question because Tokwe just reeled out statistics from that felele, meaning that government officials all know how that area is prone to these kinds of accidents. You will think that because of this, you have personnel on ground to ensure free flow of traffic. What is your FRSC doing to ensure that in that region especially, there is free flow of traffic?
Well, the issue here is that when the Safety Engineering Department went there to examine the exact problem with the issue, we found out that different issues, different problems. Like yesterday was as a result of brake failure on the part of the tanker driver, which eventually it lost control, and there's no how it could do it than to enter a ditch, and from that ditch there was an explosion. So different problems, different times, and it's an holistic thing we are looking at now. We find that most of these vehicles are aged. They don't. We're looking at as of today, as I'm talking to you. There's a conference in Abuja today organized by major oil marketers with Federal Road Safety Corps and National Association of Road Transport Owners on fleet renewal. Most of these vehicles are old. That's just the problem. It's one of the issues. And the actual load they are carrying is equally a thing of concern. Most of them, they carry excess overloading, and when they have problems, they lose control. And most of them do not have valves.
Okay.
The one they call sealant to cover the tanker. It's not as if in developed countries we do not have crashes involving tankers. Yeah, but because they are sealant, they are valves covering that. It's just like when you have a bottle that is corked. If it falls down, and you will not see anything coming out of that.
Okay, all right, let me pause you for a second. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah.
Okay, as I wonder how the different arms of, transportation, how you all work together, the different agencies, because there's these tankers are coming from somewhere. You're talking about they are aged, they are overloading, but they are coming from a place where they are supposed to have been checked. Why are they allowed on the road? You hear regular commuters say to you, they stopped me just to check just because I have tint, and just beside me, a truck was passing. I have seen this many times on my way to work. A tanker full, but 1 tire or 2 tires go. So, and then it's, it's it's tilted on one side, looking like it's about to fall on people. And they pass and they pass all forms of agents. They pass Federal Road Safety, they pass police. What is happening? What will it cost? What will it take for the government to just do this right and stop cars that are not are not supposed to be on, are not roadworthy. They are not. Yes. What's happening? Why is it so hard to just stop these vehicles from moving?
You see, if you look at statistics of crashes these days, you will realize that it's going down because of concerted efforts on the part of law enforcement agents. As I talk to you, we have one program that is known as Safe to Load. Safe to Load means we have our men in tank farms where they load to check most of the time the vehicles, how roadworthy they are. Anyone that is rickety is not allowed to load. And apart from this, we even have checklists that we use in getting these people arrested somewhere, around the port. But the issue is that most of the vehicles do not even load from tank farms. They either load from the tank farm and offload again to a recursive vehicle, which most of the time we find on the road. So this issue has to be an holistic thing. We are working with Nigerian Ports Authority, we are working with NATO, we are working with NFPC, we are working with PPMC. In fact, today there's going to be a meeting at PPMC's office of all stakeholders by 1 p.m.
Right.
And it has even been taken to the federal government level, where the Secretary of Federal Government has already formed 4 committees on enforcement, on education, on finance. So it's an holistic thing. We will soon get there. By the time everything is put together, we want to assure Nigerians that it's going to be a thing of the past.
So let me just deal with your specific angle of this. We've had this conversation. Thankfully, this show has been on for 7 years, and this is not the first time we're having things like this. I know that we've spoken to representative of FRSC, and they've said that there should be a valve. One even mentioned there should be 2 layers in the tanker. The fuel side of the tanker should actually be layered twice. So I know that these regulations were already on ground. And I know, obviously, it is not being implemented. So when you say that there is a check that happens where they pick up the fuel and that some people transfer it into a rickety car, it cannot get to Felele without having several checks. So who are we holding responsible? How many checks are supposed to be on the road? I drive, I see them on the road. I see your officials on the road. I greet them well because I acknowledge that they are working. So I know they're on the road. So how can these rickety trucks drive through several checks and nobody flagged it down? Such people that are supposed to flag it down should be penalized, because until we have adequate punishments for those who didn't do their jobs, 28 lives would go and we'll say we're working on it. And another 20 will go next time and we'll say we're still working on it. There's improvement. It's not as bad as it was before. These are families wiped out. It's terrible.
It's unfortunate. But let me assure you, if you see the level of enforcement, it's just that even in developed countries, we cannot arrest all offenders at the same time. That's just the fact. Some will escape the law, some will be impounded, some will be fined. Some, they are shouting, even that they know the level of enforcement that is on ground. Very recently, we even had to have almost 201 mobile courts to try summarily these people that immediately we don't even want to give tickets again. We take them to mobile courts where they are sentenced, where their vehicles are impounded, where they are ordered to effect repairs on the vehicle. But it is just an opportunity that we are still having pockets of this. But
let me get a quick break. We'll come back to you, sir. We're going to continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have with us the spokesman for Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Bisi Kazeem. Now, we know you can't answer all the questions, Mr. Kazeem, but let me ask you a very stupid question. As a Nigerian, I would think that when a tanker falls over like this, one of the first things a regulatory body could do is get the plate number of the tanker, trace the owner of the truck, arrest him, put him in jail first, and then begin the investigation. For me, that sounds logical to do, because when you keep having meetings and meetings, it's almost as if nothing is being done. So why isn't that a possible approach to at least finding who these people are?
we're in that process of trying to prosecute. And in fact, we're working with insurance. We're working with most of these people on ground. The reason is that most of the time, like the driver that drove that vehicle yesterday, is not alive to even be prosecuted in the first place. We lost it to that incident.
Not the driver, the owner of the truck.
The owner, the company, the transporting company.
I know there's in law, there's one thing that is called precarious liability. If you know what I mean, it means that even the owner of the vehicle could be liable, and we need to get to that level where we have a law passed. You know, you don't operate when you do not have an adequate law to operate with. You don't just do what is done. There should be a law now to say that these people should be prosecuted, and this power is given to FRSC. Then you see us doing that. But as of today, our act does not permit us to take any offender who has caused, any owner whose vehicle is involved in a crash to court. The person who is liable as at that particular time is the driver of that
This is the driver that is maintaining the truck. Okay, go ahead.
Wow, this is you've answered my question, but it's so sad because I wanted to ask you that has there been any prosecution of any road accident of this nature? Ever. Okay, so let's not say there was let's say the driver was caught. Let's say the one where the trailer, those container vehicles that trip over and fall. Has FRSC successfully prosecuted and jailed anybody guilty of this?
We have done that. I can provide evidence. I can provide a lot of things to show you that we've done that in the past. So many drivers are even in court, either for causing a crash.
Obviously, drivers can't make the change, sir. The drivers can't make the change. The drivers are working for their labor. Their employees is the owner of the truck that can make the change, sir. We're prosecuting the wrong people.
I've just told you we cannot take laws into our hands. We need to be backed by.
All right, I think we can let you go. Let me just get a final question for you.
Yeah, the final question is, I just want to know, given the statistics and given the pattern of accidents around that area, when was the first one you just read?
Felele.
Yes, the year, the
last
first one.
2007.
Yeah, so from 2007, what has been done to safeguard people? So we understand accidents happen. So what has been done since 2007, knowing that this particular area is prone to these accidents, so that we know you're working?
You know that we have Division of Labor here. Like I told you, we have a department known as Safety Engineering Department. They do accident investigation. And what we do is immediately we find out anything, we send to appropriate authority. If it is we send to Federal Ministry of Work. If it is state, we send to state work. And if it's local government, we send to them. So we can only observe and recommend remedies to a particular road. We are not saddled with the responsibility.
Okay,
what are the remedies that were recommended?
Thank you, Mr. Kazeem. I think we'll let you go at this moment. We have a few more guests who would like to speak to. Thank you very much. We're speaking with the spokesman for the Federal Road Safety Corps, FCT Abuja area.
I want to call out the minister. Yes. I really need to call out the minister. And the reason I'm doing this is because specifically, thank you, Daily Trust, for giving us the data, because we know that under the administration, this current administration, from 2017 till now, we've lost 63 lives on that same road, in that same junction. Felele, Lokoja, that same spot. Out of 4 accidents, 63 lives gone. And then the newspaper carried that the governor of the state went to meet the minister, Fashola, and minister said that the Federal Road Maintenance Agency would immediately move to action to fix Felele, Lokoja, after 63 lives gone. I passed through Ogbomoso or your road. I can tell you there is no week that accidents don't take place there. If we don't have loss of life on a weekly basis, it's just because people have found a way to manage it. There is Odoba, terrible road. Then you get into Ogbomoso itself. That road is narrow. All the tankers trailer are passing on that road. Terrible. So we're going to wait, obviously, until another 63 or some explosion happens before we will fix the road. There is an agency, and I know that the minister would respond to this, but we need to check what the agency that is supposed to maintain roads are doing to avoid loss of lives.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to speak to another guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have a concerned statesman who would like to say one or two things concerning this accident. The former Speaker, Kogi State of Assembly, Ahmed Ahmed. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. Tell us your point of view concerning this, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, viewers. Actually, first and foremost, I want to correct the name. It's not Felele. It's Felele.
Oh, wow.
It's Felele, yeah. I think Alonge call it Felele, maybe because the Felele in Ibadan. Very sorry. I had to call this morning to actually lend my voice. The incident that happened yesterday has keep recurring virtually every other 2 months, 3 months. Just like along the chronicled the number of incidences that happen in that same particular area. While I was Speaker of the 6th Assembly, one of the incidents happened. There was a motion on the floor, and the resolution was actually partly summoning the commandant of road safety in Kogi State. And he was in my office. Members took him on, of course, alongside his team. Part of what we suggested, and he gave us his word that this thing was going to be done. If you knew this particular area, there is an NNPC mega station there. Immediately after the mega station, there is a slope, a very steep slope. And if any of such articulated vehicle loses its brake, just know that accident is already, in fact, there's no way you can stop an accident. So we advised that let there be speed breakers just before and immediately after the mega station of NNPC there. And that would have saved life. From the 2016 we met with them till now, at least this should be the third incident. So what the spokesperson of road safety has just said is not enough for them to just come, say some beautiful words, and no action.
Right.
Life will continue to be lost until action will be taken.
Thank you very much.
This is indeed, for me, a criminal negligence on the part of even the federal government, because this is not the first time. Right. Just like you chronicled it on your station this morning. This thing has been coming, virtually every year. You would have 1 or 2 incidents.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Ahmed, for sharing your thoughts on this.
Is it the FRSC or the Minister for Roads? Who is supposed to do that?
That's what he's saying. First and foremost, Morayo, the act, that establishes road safety from the name is to make our roads safe.
Yes.
So, first and foremost, if the roads are there, let the roads be safe. We have said it. Just create some speed breakers along that axis.
That's the Ministry of Transportation, because FRSC doesn't report to the Ministry of Works.
No, but what he's saying that there's a first point of call. Who do you go and have this conversation with? And who will now move on and have that conversation on the federal level? Yeah. So for me, what is even more sad is that it's speed breakers we're talking about here.
The governor could have done it.
We're talking about speed breakers before and after. We're not talking of making a huge road or building a bridge. That's not what we're talking about. We take things that are so serious. We treat them like, we treat them with such levity. We don't care until lives are lost. And for him to say that he had this discussion in 2016, and since 2016, we've had 4 incidents in that area. It's almost, that's why people question. Exactly. That's why people question when politicians come in, when they promise you all sorts of things. We're questioning what really is your interest, what is your agenda.
The Kogi State governor went to visit the Honorable Minister for Works. He also is almost absolving himself, like, okay, it's your road though. But the truth is that he as a governor also has a responsibility.
Yes, it is your responsibility. It falls right on you because you are there for the people to make sure you protect and make sure they are safe.
Let me come to the speaker. A former speaker, obviously. Do you think the government has the capacity to have fixed and put those speed breakers on those roads?
Pardon?
Do you believe the governor of that state has the capacity or should have put those speed bumps on the road?
No, of course he does. But recall that that's not the only federal government road. Okay? And the state post, of course, is lane. You don't expect the the state government to actually attend to all the roads. But what I'm even saying is, even if the governor were to do that, that road has been, one of the of course, roads that Obasanjo started, to reconstruct. Of course, Abuja, Okene, Lokoja, and all that. So easily, they would have just created that speed breaker. Look, the governor, of course, can do that, but he has other attention to the other roads, to Ganaja, Japuta Road. So this one, what I'm only saying is this is something that calls for immediate action. If they have taken such action, you understand, it would have saved this life.
Yeah. Right.
From 2016
Let me let you
now.
go at this point, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed, for sharing your views on this. We're speaking with the former Speaker, Kogi State House of Assembly, Mr. Ahmed Ahmed. Going back to your thoughts, yes, you're going to say a few tweets, please.
Oshinawa Kingsley says, this country is a joke and a big fraud. We pay roadworthiness on debt-trapped roads, and no law is compelling the government at any level to pay compensation for victims of bad roads. Nigeria, hail thee, may your oppressors find celestial oppression. John Mango says, to reduce trailers and tankers on our roads, railway is key and paramount. However, federal government is building Kano to Niger. Imagine if Lagos to Kano to Sokoto rail was functional. No trailer would be on the road. This is not rocket science. So
okay, I think we have. Let me invite our next visit.
Yes, I was just going to say that this is a trouble spot that government is very much aware of, and many administrations have come in between the different incidents that have happened. Something could have been done, and even if it's not on a large scale, or that something to just, even if it was the way to direct traffic in such a way, because a lot of school children passed on, died in this incident on their way to school. If it was something that was done to make sure tankers do not move on that road during school hours, maybe the casualty, every life is important, but maybe the casualty would have been a lot less than what has happened. So because we need to be more creative in ways, I know we need money to do something, but we need to find creative ways to deal with things until we can put money on it.
Talking about creative ways, because sometimes we like to absolve ourselves as citizens. Government is not the one going to the road to put the cement and the sand together. It's the private people, us, you and I, that get these contracts from the government. So we are just as responsible for the bad roads. We are just as responsible for the bad maintenance of our trucks. We're just as responsible for not even taking responsibility and saying, okay, sorry, I bought in new trucks. I can't remember the last time I saw a brand new truck, a petrol truck on the road of Lagos.
It's even more annoying to realize that after shouting on this show for many years, the FRSC spokesperson is saying that there is no law compelling punishment on the owners of the truck, only the drivers. Like, for me, that's a huge slam on all our lawmakers, especially for those at every state.
That, okay? I seriously doubt it, but let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan, are you there?
Good morning,
Thanks for calling, Hassan. Go ahead, please.
Mariam, and good morning, Tokwe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You see, between yesterday and today, what I've been hearing from people is much more of sycophantic expression. My response is in respect of Imam, the member of House of Assembly in Kogi State.
Former.
Why are people so sycophantic in defense of a governor that is not performing? Because this is the state capital, for God's sake. I know that area very well. It's the state capital. But you are taking the issue of your state capital to Mr. President Abuja. It's a failure on your own side. This silence of conspiracy must stop in this country. This issue of members of House of Assembly coming in defense of state governor must stop in this country. This issue of people drawing money from federal government and not doing anything at state and local government must stop in this country. Enough is enough. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
So I got one of my friends called me. She lives there, and she's saying that what is painful is this is almost a daily, a yearly occurrence. And to see her governor taking a picture with the minister, they were smiling. For her, it felt like a slap in her face. People have died, and this is not the first time. And I do not want to be looking in the papers and be seeing my governor smiling with the minister, because I think that they should have taken the responsibility of making sure people are safe. In some other climes, that governor would be in serious trouble.
Should be on ground.
People will be sitting down right now in the houses of assembly and thinking, what do we do to this governor, because he's very much aware of this.
They have called an emergency meeting.
Yes,
on this matter.
On ground. It should have gone to the people. It should have been in that space.
He now went to Abuja.
Not in Abuja. Yeah, I think it was actually already in Abuja. That's another story, because people feel like he's governing the state from Abuja. But
that's public opinion.
Yeah, but that's public opinion. Yeah. People say that. So Abiodun says it's extremely painful that this tragedy keeps reoccurring and yet our government is less concerned. It's high time immediate precaution and solution is preferred. Amazing IHV says they know what to do. Can you imagine there's no law for this kind of disaster? I'm laughing and crying at the same time. If we have good data system, the plate number alone will show the owner of the truck. The truck belongs to elites and they know themselves, so passing the law won't work.
Let me go on a break because I'll see if the producers can get us a lawmaker. We need to speak to one lawmaker that can actually confirm to us that there's no law.
No. State House of
Is that possible? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, I would like to read the response from our presidency. Let me see if it makes sense to you. It says, I am seriously worried. This is from Garba Shehu. It says, I am seriously worried about the frequency of these unfortunate and large-scale tragedies in the country, which cause needless deaths. According to him, these frequent incidents that result in loss of lives and property are a national scandal caused by our indifference to safety standards. He further explained that many accidents are preventable if proper proactive and precautionary measures are put in place or properly observed as routine policies. So who is going to put these precautionary measures in place? Who is going to ensure? So we know the problem, as Mayam said earlier. We understand it very clearly. Anybody wake up from sleep, they know the problem. But until we begin to prosecute people, arrest people, because nobody has answered that stupid question of why can't I trace the owner of a truck? And first, let him be cooling up in Panti first. After you're in Panti, we'll now investigate, find out what happened, what methods you take, who did what. We'll now find out who is truly responsible. But first of all, can't you gather these people and just throw them in jail? The owners, not the drivers, because those are the easy, low-hanging fruits. Well, let me call the place.
Let us see them on TV as they're going in and out of court, trying to defend themselves.
The owners have fleets. The fleets are largely not well maintained. Yes, as a business owner, I can understand part of the problem because you buy a truck that is fairly good and you drive from Lagos to Kano 3 times and the truck becomes like a 10-year-old truck because our roads do that to those trucks. However, until you put the pressure where it should be, when you put pressure on this owner of the fleet, they will now galvanize.
Owners of companies in different parts of the world, they resign. They are not the ones that actually the direct responsibility, but because you are the owner, you step aside. So your processes is not my business. The fact that your manager did not make sure they maintain the truck is none of my business. Yeah. You are the helmsman. Your job is to ensure.
And your truck has led to the loss of 28 lives.
So we need to see the faces of these owners. Who are they? They are not ghosts. Simple. They live in this country.
Your truck has led to the loss of 28 lives. See, and a lot of those trucks are branded. We even know the branded ones. I'm
told we have NEMA, a representative from NEMA, who hopefully will tell us, Head of Operations, National Emergency Management Agency, FCT, and Kogi State, Mr. Bitrus Samuel. Mr. Bitrus, thank you for joining us. Are you there?
I'm there, yes. Thank you.
Right, NEMA. Tell us so far, I don't even know where to start.
What would your response have been? Because we saw the smoke, we saw that everybody that was involved in the accident died. What would you have termed a better response to this accident?
Thank you. First, my sympathy is with those who sadly lost their lives in this unfortunate incident. Now, from what we gathered from eyewitnesses is that the truck lost control. And if you are familiar with that road, many of us, I'm sure, passed through that road. From the NNPC towards Abuja, it's a slope. So when it lost control, and some portion of that road is terribly bad. So at that point, it veered off and hit some vehicles who were parked, along the road. So when it fell, it was spewing fuel, petrol. Now, people were trapped in that accident, but sadly, in Kogi State, there is no fire hydrant We don't have a fire truck. The fire services are ill-equipped to deal with that situation at the moment.
Thank you for this information.
Thank you.
Now, it is traditional. Somehow it's as if Nigerians are drawn to that kind of sad situations. People throng that place. And then even travelers, motorists who were traveling along that road, they became impatient. They couldn't even wait. So they were trying to pass through. Unfortunately, the response was to be able to rescue those who were trapped. But the challenge is that the hazard was still there. And naturally, if the fire services were properly equipped at that moment, is to douse the fuel to allow responders to be able to assess those people, some of the people that were trapped.
All right.
So in that, yes.
Mr. Samuel, in your experience, I mean, you've seen quite a number of accidents. You've tried to rescue some people. In your view, how could we have prevented this? We understand the bad roads, we understand the poor maintenance of the trucks, but how could we have ensured that we have saved more lives? How do we pay attention as motorists to see, okay, truck driver is driving, or either you slow down? What would you advise motorists to do in this kind of situations? What are the emergency responses that we as a people can begin to imbibe to reduce the fatalities in this kind of accidents?
Yes, disaster management today is more focused on prevention. Now, there are agencies of government who have that statutory responsibility to ensure that these vehicles are in proper roadworthiness state. So if they have to wake up to their responsibilities and ensure that there is a system by which these vehicles are properly checked, the standards are followed. There should be codes of practices that these transporters, this roadworthiness of these vehicles is determined before they hit the road. And somehow, along the road, there should be an oversight where there are other agencies that can ensure that these vehicles can continue to move.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Beatrice, we hear that we spoke to a spokesperson for FRSC earlier on, and they said, okay, we spoke to someone who was representing FRSC just before you came on, and he said that FRSC usually would make recommendations and provide remedies for areas like this. As NEMA, when knowing that this incidences have happened over time, this is not the first time, it's happened some few years before. What were the recommendations and the remedies provided for the state government and federal government for that area?
Now, for us as a response agency or an emergency response agency, this is a road traffic related event that occurred. So for us, is to have a state of preparedness. And we have stakeholders within Kogi State, the Nigerian Red Cross, for instance, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. So what we do is to improve their capacity to be able to respond, especially to these situations. So our recommendations are usually, like now, the state of that road, the state of that road, particularly at that point where this accident took place, has been left for too long, in a bad state. So ours is to call the attention of the state government, the FEMA, which is the agency that's responsible for those road maintenances, to quickly do some of these things. Because accidents like this one, like road traffic accidents like this, the road conditions are often the most contributory factor. So if these are dealt with adequately, it will go a long way to lessen
All right, let me
kind
get
of
a few more
tragedy.
questions in for you very quickly. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for we've mentioned the road. We called out the minister already concerning the roads. However, you brought something else to our attention, which is the preparedness of the state to handle the emergency situation. There's a bit of advantage in Lagos in terms of the fact that we've had previous governors invest heavily into the fire service and emergency responses. Yeah. This is a location where these things happen frequently, especially with the NNPC depot around the corner. What could the NNPC, shouldn't every NNPC depot have fire service response within the facility, knowing that there's likelihood of these things happening? So who are we blaming? The governor for not having fire hydrants, speed bombs. The NNPC, who has a location just by the side where these things happen, who should have facilities to prevent it also. What's your own role now? What would you recommend? Would you do like a list? Is that the procedure that you would now do a white paper recommendation and send it to a few people? What would that contain? Because we want to know who we should be holding accountable. We've listed a few of them, but going forward, citizens of Kogi State who've lost families and friends and all of that will be wondering who will be the next person? Because it happened in December, it happened in January. Who is the next person and what can we do to prevent it?
Yes, disaster management or emergency management is multi-sectoral. It's not a one agency affair. So because this situation keeps occurring, it's necessary that all of us in the emergency sector put our heads together and create a preventive mechanism to ensure that these things, when they occur in that location, that's a hot spot for this kind of occurrences.
Right.
So it's to take proactive measures, to take concrete measures.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bitrus Samuel, for this. We'll be speaking with the Head of Operations National Emergency Agency, FCT, Kogi State, Mr. Bitrus Samuel. Now, there was a video I'm sure many of us have watched of the various steps that Link One U took in helping Singapore out of poverty. And one of the points that was made in that video is that the government of Singapore at the time picked a pragmatic solution. What is pragmatic? What's practicable? So I've been hearing from our guest, even the previous one, saying different agencies, statutory responsibilities. It's not my duty. There's a different group that's supposed to do this. Everybody's pushing it. That's the issue with civil service. That's the issue with the bureaucracy. What is pragmatic? We have tankers falling. We have bad roads. We have people dying. What is practicable? Don't tell me, I did a white paper and I gave it to this agency. I did a blue paper. I gave it to that agency. That is not pragmatic for us. It's not practicable. It doesn't make any sense.
So, Mariah, I'm realizing that the issues happening with Otedola Bridge could be prevented or reduced by putting speed breakers around Mobile.
God bless you.
So people will be forced to slow down by Mobile and that will help. So if we know these things, what's the cause of delay? Who else needs to die before we do what is needful? Who else needs to die? Because we are mourning. The president is mourning. The governor is mourning. Everybody is mourning, but we're not doing it. Even from the people we've spoken to right now, nothing is going to change, Murayo. It's going to just be, we're going to work.
But what I love most about our show is the fact that the government listens. At least we know they listen. Yeah. Our people also listen, and we have the ears of Nigerians. So at this point, I would like somebody from the National Assembly to come and talk to us and explain to us if indeed we don't have any law that we can hold these marketers responsible. Because at the end of the day, somebody is telling us that we don't have laws, that we cannot just go and arrest somebody, private person. I don't understand that. So please, if you can explain to the ladies of your view, we can then help interpret it to Nigerians to understand, do we have a law to be able to prosecute the owners of these trucks?
Because right now we are very displeased, and I know every Nigerian watching this show is displeased to hear that there is no law. So if there's a law, let us know. We will convey it to the viewers. And if there is no law, somebody should come up with a bill soonest to ensure that there is punishment on the owners of the fleets. Not just the drivers. We must prosecute the owners of these trucks.
We even spoke to a lawmaker now. My producer just told me he tried to speak to a lawmaker. He now said, hold on, let me quickly check it, the law, and he'll get back to us. Unfortunately, he didn't get back to us. So We don't know.
Not yet.
We don't not yet. We wait. Hopefully, maybe by Monday we get exactly if there's a law protecting. Mariam, the last
yes, I was going
up.
to say that Mr. Samuel also brought something to mind, and he talked about how other commuters didn't want to stop when this happened. So that's something we need to talk about. It has happened in Lagos, where people who were not right there during when an incident happened but found themselves in there. Nigerians, you need to take care. You need to protect yourself. There's no government that is going to come for you, take care of you. You can see we're still struggling to have them do the basics. So when you find a place where there's been an accident, stop first, so that you don't find yourself caught up in the flames or in the smoke that would come up in an incident like that.
Okay, we need to wrap up. But before I wrap up, I must... It breaks my heart that there's no fire service, especially in that area.
Effectively.
This one is governor. Because federal government cannot come and build fire station for you.
Station should have.
Government should be angry about something.
The governor of Kogi State, why don't we have
Why
fire
are you
service?
angry about something?
Young governor, you
Yes,
are young governor.
They're supposed to be happening.
The basic thing, fire truck service.
We're calling you out on this one.
Well, have a understandable day.
Telling you.
See you tomorrow. Bye for now.